Okay, hello YouTubers, and today I'm going to be reviewing this, which at the time of recording is the latest Sonic 2.5-inch 3-pack for Sonic 3, at least released in the UK. So I was able to pick this up on Amazon for £25, which is currently the only place you can actually officially get this in the UK other than, spending extortionate amounts on eBay. So let's take a look at these figures, and I will mention I've spent the last 5 or 10 minutes trying to get these all to stay upright. They're actually leaning against the back of the box because particularly with the Shadow and the Supersonic figure, they really do not stand up on their own, and it would have been nice if they had little bases on them to keep them standing up because they are extremely top heavy. But yeah, let's get into this. So we'll start with Shadow, who I believe did have an individual release before. In fact, I think I've got that individual release. But yeah, for a 2.5-inch Shadow figure based on Sonic 3, it's really good. You don't really get much of a loss of detail in there. Obviously, the eyes on these ones are just painted where they don't have the plastic lens over the front to make them look a little bit more 3D. Like the 5-inch figures do. But to be honest, that might actually be a benefit in some cases, because you don't have to worry about the lenses scratching up or getting fogged up over the years. But yeah, he has a really nice sort of textured finish, really nice paint apps. They haven't skimped on anything. I mean, being Jack specific, it is really nicely done. You can see though there is little peg holes in there, so if you did have a generic display base and you do want to put them on display, I would recommend that, simply because obviously the head is where a good 90% of the weight of this figure is. But yeah, it's a really good lightness, really sharp paint and details, and on this figure, if you can find the individual version, I believe it is £6 if I remember rightly here in the UK, but again, it's mostly sold out, so if you missed out on that individual release, this is a pretty good way to pick it up. Obviously, the highlight probably will be for some people is the Supersonic figure. Now, this is getting an individual release, though I don't know if it's coming to the UK or not, but we do know it is a real thing because we've seen leaked images of it, and I believe I've seen it turn up on eBay and that as well. But yeah, this one is quite nice, although I will say the way the mouth is painted on there with a bit of white there, I don't know if it's just my one, but it looks a little bit odd, to be honest. I think cause it's obviously meant to be the teeth and that, but yeah, I think I would have preferred if it was just a line, because it just kind of looks like a bit of a white smudge on his face rather than him gritting his teeth. Other than that, the rest of the sculpt is really nice. They've gotten the colour of the eyes correct, because obviously we had a 2.5-inch, I believe we did have a 2.5-inch Supersonic for Sonic 2, if I remember rightly. Though that one, I think they got the colour of the eyes wrong. I think they coloured his eyes green, whereas on this one they're red. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think I do have that figure somewhere, but again, we do have nice sort of textured detailing and that on there. It isn't just, solid plastic. They have actually bothered, to texture it. Again, with the shoes, it has the peg holes and that in there, so if you want to put on a base, you can, which again, I recommend. This is the worst of them to actually pose. But yeah, it does look really nice, and it's been given this, I don't know if it's the plastic itself, or whether it's been given this finish, but it kind of, makes him sort of reflect and that off light, which can sort of give him the kind of glow and that, which I guess is what, they're trying to go for, particularly with this figure. But again, he is really good. I think it's just the fact that this plastic hasn't been matted off. They haven't sprayed it with a matte lacquer on this one, because with the Sonic figures, normally they're moulded in the colour of, the plastic is moulded in the colour of what the figure is, and then basically it's then given a matte coating afterwards, whereas this one I don't think they deliberately haven't, or they've given it some sort of coating afterwards to kind of make it a little bit more deliberately type reflective. But yeah, quite a nice figure there. I would have personally liked it if he had the closed fists like Shadow does here, just because, you know, he normally has the closest. I'm assuming maybe that open because obviously there is a Super Shadow variant coming in this 2.5-inch range. I think it's getting an individual release, but it is coming in a pack like this one. So yeah, and then the interesting figure, which is exclusive, I think, to this set, at least at the time of recording, is the Agent Stone figure. Now, this is not being released in any other scale. So, yeah, only a 2.5-inch scale. Unfortunately, right across his backside, we've got a load of legal information, which is a bit unfortunate. The Supersonic, it hides it quite well, sort of under the quills. They're the same with the Shadow, but on Agent Stone, not so much. It is just all in there, unfortunately. So, yeah, slight unfortunate there, but it's because it's not a bad likeness of him. It is not a bad likeness, particularly at this scale. To be honest, it's not a bad likeness at all, and his suit is actually pretty well detailed. It is all just moulded in one black plastic there, but since, you know, he wears the shirt, black tie, it does kind of fit. He has ball jointed arms and that as well, and even the hands as well. Not bad at all. It's not a bad little likeness for such a figure. Yeah, 2.5-inch for an Agent Stone figure, which you'll be able to put next to your Robotnik figure if you do have one, which has been previously released. So yeah, finally we have an Agent Stone. He may only be in the 2.5-inch scale, but if they did ever release him in a 5-inch scale, I'd definitely buy it, because I really like Agent Stone. I don't know why. I think, you know, it just works for Jim Carrey, and to be honest, I would like him to continue in that in Sonic 4 if he comes back. I don't know whether you'd class this as a figure or an accessory. I class it more as an accessory, but we do get a Robotnik drone. It does come. It's the only figure that actually comes on a display base. So, yeah, that's nice. And it is also nice that the base is removable as well, but obviously you can put it on the base to make it look like it's hovering. It does have some nice detailing on there, and while the paint apps are a bit minimal in that, it is quite nice. I will say the colour of it isn't quite right, and this is what I mean about it being moulded in this plastic rather than it being painted, because basically, you know, it's meant to be a very bright sort of vivid white. I mean, if you look at the, you know, this is white, this is paper. Yeah, not quite right. It's you know, sort of an off-white type colour. So it would have been nice if they'd actually painted it or, you know, moulded it in a more white type plastic, because it isn't quite right, unfortunately, in terms of that, you know, very vividly contrasty white. And it would be nice if I had the little black sort of detailing for the little panels in there, but yeah, slight shame, but it's not the end of the world, and it's still a nice little thing regardless. Now, this is an interesting one. So we get the Master Emerald here, except it's not to scale with the figures, as you can see. It is absolutely ginormous. And obviously, if you see the Master Emerald in the film, it is nowhere near this big. So why is this big? Well, this is just a reused emerald. Basically, I mean, I think it's also the same one they use in the 4-inch scale range, but obviously more recently, if you bought the Sonic 3 5-inch figure from Wave 3, it comes with this emerald. Yeah, it comes with this exact emerald. So obviously they've just repackaged it here, and yeah, unfortunately it just isn't to scale. It is just too big. Now, this will be a slight good news, because some people in that, obviously, if you bought the Wave 1 version of the 5-inch Sonic 3 figure, that did not come with this emerald. And obviously, they basically just re-released it in Wave 3, but with this. So obviously, you know, if you missed out on that, this is another way to get it. It does have the little hole on the bottom, so you can use the display base from that and put it on there, and hey, you can spin it around and everything. So yeah, that's an option if you want it. Yeah, it's an alright accessory in that, but unfortunately it just isn't to scale with the rest of the figures. Unfortunately, it is just kind of, thrown in there, to be honest. And in terms of the value of this set at £25, is it a good value? Well, each of these figures, if they were released on their own, each of them would be £6 each, so 6, 12, £18. And basically, then you're paying... See what I mean about them falling down? You're paying an extra £7 for these two accessories here. So yeah, I do know, obviously, prices, will vary, and that I've seen the previous set go down to like £20 and that, so, maybe, I mean, I was tempted to maybe wait on this set, but again, with the scarcity of the Sonic 3 figures, because they do tend to sell pretty quickly. Obviously, if you want this, then I suggest getting it sooner rather than later, but yeah, it is a little bit of a harder sell, particularly, I'd say this, if you've already got the Shadow, which was previously released, Sonic, Supersonic will probably get a release on its own somewhere maybe down the line, and possibly Agent Stone as well, so, that might be an option. In terms of the Master Emerald, again, it's out of scale with the rest of the figures. It's a nice enough accessory, but it is out of scale with those, but if you want to use it for that. So, I do like the set, but it's not the best value for money, especially considering when the Sonic 2 2.5-inch set had Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, Robotnik, and also I think it had a B-Bot, I think it was, and that was only £20. These seem to be pushing the price a little bit. They're not, I wouldn't call these the best value for money in terms of that, but again, I do still like the figures and that are in here, but in terms of the value for money, maybe not the absolute best. Also, when ordering from Amazon as well, unfortunately the box on my one has gotten a bit of a ding on that corner bit there, because Amazon being Amazon, they sent it in a paper bag. Literal paper. I mean, it's better than them slapping a label on it, but yeah, as an adult collector who likes things pristine, it did annoy me. Not enough to return it, but an annoying thing nonetheless, but that's something I thought I'd mention. Anyway, that's it for this review, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.